Today's guest is John Jennings with Inspire You Coaching. John and I go way back. We've known each other for several years. You may feel that, think that when you're listening to our conversation today because it was so good. John will inspire you, whatever generation you are, to be your best version of yourself. John is a business coach, but he's also an author. He's also a public speaker, which gives me hives thinking about doing myself. John has a lot of little nuggets that you may take away from this story. There are going to be laughs, there are going to be tears. I can't wait for you to hear a conversation that I had. So please stay tuned and listen to John Jennings with Inspire You.
I don't think our generation is a good sales leader.
I mean, I don't consider myself necessarily a sales expert. I hate sales, to be honest. I despise sales.
So what would be your jam?
So when I talk about sales, I talk about selling conversationally and consultatively.
Which is sales.
But it's
Just sounds better.
I just like things like tricky sales, like sales techniques.
Yeah.
I use subtle ones, but not
Okay.
like the
Not salesy.
not
what you think.
used car salesman or
Okay.
life insurance salesman.
Yeah.
That those high pressure. No offense to,
Yeah.
to the
I mean, it's
young
it's
people out there
awful.
who take those high pressure sales roles, but
Yeah.
that's not.
That's not your jam.
I like to sit down and have a conversation with a person, and if they, in an ideal world, if they like me, they go, "Hey, what would it be like to work with you?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, well, let's talk about that."
So you actually just told me that you have a sales group coaching,
And
but you don't like sales.
I teach them
But
how
you
to
teach
sell
them. Okay.
much like I'm talking about.
Okay. So what does that look like? Who would be the ideal person to be in a group?
I'm usually working with people who are relatively new to sales. A lot
Okay.
of our second career kind of things, like,
Oh,
I've been doing, whatever, IT or project management or whatever.
Yeah.
Now I find myself suddenly in a sales role and I don't really know how to do this,
what am I doing?
which is kind of where I was like 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And like, I never figured out how to sell. And I didn't really want to sell,
Yeah.
but I found myself in the sales leadership role. I wasn't doing all of the selling, but I was involved with the sales.
Okay.
And then when I started my business 7 years ago, I had to sell because
How do you get money?
Yeah.
How do you make money?
it's one of those things that, that was probably one of the hardest things about going out on business as, on
Yeah.
your own is like, you have to have money. I have to actually sell.
I have to tell people what I do and stuff.
Yeah, I have to kind of put myself out on the
Okay.
out there. So I teach people how to use your Champions Network, which is basically just everybody and just have conversations with them and tell them what you're doing. Spend more time talking about them than you.
Yeah.
Leave them curious. Be curious, which makes them curious about you.
Yeah.
And my first big sale, which was about a month or two after starting my business, I was talking to a man I knew who was kind of semi-retired, chairman of the board of a pretty big manufacturing company. And he knew me, he knew I'd started a business. And I did kind of the Champions Network thing, which was I said, "Hey, can we grab lunch? Love to just pick your brain. You've been a successful businessman." And we sat down, had lunch, and we talked, and he shared lots of thoughts and stuff. And then he started saying, "Well, I've been reading some of your blogs." And he started questioning me on some things.
He was a closet fan.
Yeah. He had already been kind of, stalking me a little bit.
Love it.
And he said, "Well, what's your ideal client?" And I said, I'm still figuring that out, but I'd say probably somebody like, maybe $1 million to 10 million, maybe even stretching up to like 50 million in revenue. Some business that wants to grow, wants to look at their strategy, maybe their culture, figure things out. And he's like, I guess we're too big for you. I had no idea how big this.
You should have gone higher.
Yes.
You still
And he goes, well, and he told me how many X times bigger they were.
You were like, actually redacted.
And I said, well, I don't guess there's any reason why there's a top on that.
Why does revenue matter?
Well, so usually most companies, especially when you think about strategic planning and things like that, if they're up over 50 million, I mean, that means they're probably several hundred to 500 employees, something like that, and they've got, an HR team, they probably have a strategy leaders. So they usually have all that stuff inside.
Okay.
And so they don't usually come to someone like me, but he said, yeah, we're, X times better, or bigger than that. But, we've never really done that. We've never really done any kind of leadership development or anything.
Okay.
So
he was intrigued.
Yeah. He goes, maybe you ought to come by and talk to my team. And we work together.
So it just started with you basically telling someone, you're so awesome. I want to talk to you about how you did what you did.
Yeah.
And then
I walked out with the biggest
big sale.
That was like my, I guess even to this date, my second biggest monthly gig kind of thing.
And how does that correlate to the Champions Network? While I do listen to literally everything you say all the time.
So your Champions Network is everybody that knows you, that you've worked with, that you've coached, Little League with, that you're did Boy Scouts with, that you go to church with. It's everybody that you've run across, because we like to do business with people that we know and like.
Yeah.
And we'd rather do business with somebody that we know and kind of like and trust. And then the other thing is, most people will have positive memories when they think back. They don't remember the conflict you had over a particular issue, or the fact that y'all didn't necessarily get along every day on things. That they'll think back and they'll remember the good times. Our brains kind of filter out that. So when you I ran into a guy in a restaurant last week that worked for me 20 years ago. And we haven't seen each other in at least 12 years or more. Oh no, I mean, he ran out, gave me a big hug, and hey, let's get him play golf, man. It's been forever,
Okay.
And
So it was good.
Yeah.
You look the exact same.
No,
Just kidding.
I don't. I had hair that. I used to have a thick head of hair.
I'll leave that.
But we'll move on. But anyway, so your Champions Network is just all those types of people. And so, you get back together with people and you can just sit down. I love to do it over lunch or over coffee and break bread and you get talking and sometimes they're just reminiscing, but then every once in a while, as you're talking, they go, my cousin Sally, she's got a business. I wonder if she could use some help.
Okay. So it's the Champions Network are people that and there are levels.
Yeah.
Whether it's, on the outside, people, personal, friends, family,
Right.
what have you, and you just get more and more specific.
Yeah.
And this is another way to look at people that you might be able to use as referrals, word of mouth, reach out to.
Yeah. We talk about levels of champions. The next level are people who not only know you, like you, and all that, respect you and all that stuff, trust you. They also get you and they really understand what you do. And
could also be your salespeople.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is more of a group coaching.
Oh yeah. So the group coaching program, I teach that. Also teach just how smart activity leads to results.
I'm sure you've mentioned this to me,
Yes.
but I'm going to pretend like I don't know anything.
Yeah. So, the reality is, if you are doing the right kind of activity, you should get results, even if you're not a very good salesperson.
Okay.
I don't consider myself a great salesperson. I can get results if I'm doing the right activity.
Sure.
If I'm not doing the right activity, guess what? Pipeline gets pretty empty.
Yeah.
I had a lot of personal things going on last year. You know about that.
Yep.
And I wasn't out doing a lot of networking. I wasn't doing a lot of champions
Sure.
networking and stuff like that. And I don't regret. I mean,
You had to do what you had to
I
do.
knew I had to do it right.
Yeah.
But when I started picking up the activity, guess what? Started having
Start
good
turning
results.
around.
Yeah.
So from a group perspective, as far as ideal person, obviously I'm not the ideal person because I need more attention.
Yeah. And you deserve it.
Okay. That was beautiful. It doesn't necessarily have to be a business owner, correct? It could be just a person in a leadership position.
Yeah.
Okay. Wanting assistance with sales leadership.
Yeah.
But you also had another.
Oh, I do a couple different types. I do at least 3 different types of group coaching. And, that's, we've been talking about the sales coaching. That one usually just runs a certain amount of time.
And,
And,
and then you're done.
About 13 sessions.
Okay.
And it evolves a little bit.
Yeah.
As with the needs of the group. And then I have a program that's strictly for small business owners. That's like a 8-session kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
I haven't done that one in a while. It's taking coaching material, but like cramming
into
a lot and like drinking from the fire hose.
Right.
Like,
and with other people.
Yeah. Usually 4, 5, 6 people, together. And
so maybe business owners that know they need help.
Yeah.
But don't necessarily want a long-term commitment.
Yeah. And, or the finances, they can't.
Okay. Financial.
The whole program that runs for a couple of months.
Yeah.
As a group costs about like 1 month of coaching costs.
Oh, I see. Okay. So do you find that personality wise, or are there traits of someone that would be more successful in a group versus working individually with them?
Well, I don't know. What makes you different?
I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but maybe I can. I think for me, when it comes to group coaching, I felt like the stuff that other people were speaking out loud wasn't where I was.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm shy, John. I'm really introverted. Don't you know this by now? I don't like saying certain what feels intimate or vulnerable things out loud, especially because when I did your group coaching program, you weren't the problem. I was the problem. I know that. I work with a lot of those people. Some of them, they were my own clients. And some of them were my salespeople out in the world because we were in a networking group together. And so it felt really vulnerable to say, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. I want to appear like I have it all together, which is honestly shocking that you would refer anyone to me since we work together as a coaching and client. But that makes sense. Maybe that's how other people feel, or maybe
well, and I think some of that is generational.
Is it?
Yeah, because
okay.
Millennials are a little bit jaded and don't really trust other generations. They feel like they're looked down.
Okay.
With some experience, you realize that we're all kind of messed up.
Okay. Why do you think that is? I've never thought of it like that.
I think millennials really kind of came in with this little new attitude, very technology savvy, coming into a world where they're like, oh gosh, you old people, you don't know what you're talking about.
I still think no.
You're such a boomer, and
just kidding.
And so they also were huge. I mean, people realize, they always think about the baby boomers being the largest generation. Well, millennials actually larger than boomers.
Interesting.
By sheer number. Gen X, or Gen X is like the forgotten generation because they're kind of squeezed in between there. There's been things like, one of the founders of Home Depot, who was like 90 years old, he said this, but he said, would never put a millennial in any type of management position. Of course, Home Depot then quickly, disavowed any connection with this person. But anyway, so millennials kind of are now they're moving into management. I mean, they are dominating the management level, and they are the largest percentage of workforce today, and will be for the next 25 years.
100 years, because there will be no Social Security. So we'll never retire. That's good for you then. You'll always have people that need help.
Yeah, we're always going to need it. But so boomers, have that little bit of...
maybe they're more self-aware. what they needed business, and millennials think no one understands them. Or no?
Maybe.
You tell me.
Of course, I always think it's dangerous to paint
paint
anything with a broad brush.
Okay.
But yeah, millennials have a little bit of that emotion.
Yeah.
But they're maturing into leadership roles, which is awesome. Millennials and Gen Z in general also, just because of what they've grown up with, have had to figure out how to deal with things like conflict and disagreement. Poor Gen Z, I mean, they came up with, most of them impacted by COVID heavily. They're in college or high school or whatever. Isolation, living, life in your basement from your computer screen. I mean,
very different.
Very, very different. They also, they're the first generation they really were impacted by the advent of the smartphone and social media. So I'm reading a book right now called The Anxious Generation, which is, boy, we're getting off the business topic, but it does apply.
This is all, I think this helps people understand.
Yeah. Well, so Gen Z is the most anxious generation I've ever seen. They have more mental health problems than any generation we've ever seen. They're through the 20th century, you have all kinds of data, like with the advent of cars and television, and then computers, and the personal computers, and the internet, and all, and cell phones, and what we see is this life kind of goes on, and then in 2010 there's this hockey stick of depression, suicide attempts, suicides, especially in young women. So Gen Z is well more than double, and those types of things.
Okay.
From previous generations. The first time I've ever seen a significant spike.
That's a huge difference.
And when it all started was 2010, which is about 2 years after the smartphone, and also the advent of social media. So, we had, I think if you had social media, but you were only checking it, when you got home at night, you got onto your, computer
once in a while,
once an hour or so, or cell phones, were great, but we didn't use them a lot because they were, like texting was really a pain because you had to do that little trick.
I loved it.
That really slowed down texting because it took forever.
Oh, I didn't think about it like that.
And now
way longer.
So now, we've got this device in our pocket. We cannot disconnect. We cannot,
it's always with us.
It's with us everywhere. And so, I think the reason it's impacted women more than men, I mean, young women are bullied. They're, shame, there's a lot of shame and stuff going on, body shaming, all that kind of stuff.
Shame.
And I think that's really impacted them. So you get this people, I think millennials had some of that, and then Gen Z, it's even worse. They enter the workplace and they've never learned how to have conflict.
Yeah.
And
of any sort.
Of any sort.
Or negative.
Well, and also just, when I was a latchkey kid. So, when I was.
No, you were not, John.
Yeah. So like in middle school, I took the bus home.
Yeah.
Got home about 3:30, called my mom, said, I'm home.
You had buses when you were younger? I'm just kidding.
Yes, we had buses. There were actually wagons. They had horses in front.
I imagine.
No, we got off the bus, went in, called mom.
On the landline.
I had to say, hey, I'm home. She'd ask me how was my day, whatever. And I'm like, yeah. So my first responsibility is to get my homework. And then if I could get my homework done before she got home, I was out the door.
You're responsible.
Roaming the streets, seeing, out in a subdivision out in the country.
Safe.
So, but so there was like 6 or 8 other boys around my age.
You all went
and I would, you knock on doors and go, hey, what are you doing? Oh, I'm still doing my homework. Okay. See you later. Maybe we'd end up down the field
playing. That's how you communicated.
Yeah. We'd maybe end up down the field playing, football or something, or maybe I'd walk around and not find anybody that could play. I'd just walk around everywhere.
Oh, you keep walking around. You keep trying.
Yeah.
You're still out there.
And then you eventually, mom would get home and she'd fix dinner, and then, she'd come over.
Normal.
She'd come over the hill. I'd hear her yell, John, coming. And then,
and you would.
I would know that's time for me to go in for dinner. And that was, that was kind of
I'll be honest, it was very similar for me too.
Really?
Yes, 100 years later.
It's amazing because most people your age have they can't even imagine that.
No, it was exactly like that, except I had sisters. And so the three of us would walk.
Yeah.
If we had a key, I didn't wear it around my neck because that is not
I did actually
fashionable at all.
I did wear mine around the neck
That's
when
so
I was like in
ugly.
middle school.
We had one of those like scrunchy looking, like around your wrist.
Yeah.
And then I would open the door to the apartment and we would do this almost the same thing, except we would not go out and look for people to play with because we had each other. So believe it or not, some millennials were still latchkey kids.
Hey there, my little biz besties. It's Ashley Chamberlain, host of In Good Company and CEO of Chamberlain and Good Company, the virtual accounting firm that actually speaks human. If you're a business owner and you've ever found yourself staring at QuickBooks like it's a literal foreign language, wondering if your miscellaneous category is secretly plotting against you, this is for you. We just launched something new, a private Facebook group called Mind Your Business and Your Books. It's for business owners who want real answers, real support, maybe a little less panic when it comes to your books. We're talking QuickBooks help, tax tips, mindset shifts, because yes, money is mental, and a community that actually gets it. How rare, right? It's $30 for your first month because we believe in starting strong without breaking the bank. That's not what we're trying to do here. After that, the price goes up. We'll go live twice a month. We'll answer your questions that are submitted by you ahead of time. Search Mind Your Business and Your Books on Facebook, or just check the link in the show notes. Join us. Your spreadsheets and your sanity will thank you.
Going back to like the shame and the pressure of social media and the pressure of keeping up with technology, it sounds like you had a much slower day.
Yeah.
Slower as far as expectations. Just get these things done, move on with your day.
Yeah.
Versus, it's a difference.
Yeah. And the other part is, because we were boys and boys do boy things like roughhousing.
They still do crazy things.
All that stuff. We learned how we had fights, we had conflicts, you might like end up wrestling in the dirt with a guy one day, and the next day you're on the school bus again, going to school, and everything's fine.
Maybe that plays into why I struggled in the group coaching program, but shouldn't stop other people because you can learn from other people's what they're going through.
Yeah.
It's just listening.
Yeah. Just
nuggets.
Yeah. Just yesterday in the third type, which was the one you were in, which is more of a mastermind group where just business owners come in, and I do some coaching, but also part of it is just, hey, what are y'all dealing with? Yeah. And one of them shared something they were dealing with. And then 3 others had ideas of how to deal with that. Just sharing ideas.
A sense of community versus what I described my experience was, I can't relate. It could be a community feel.
Yeah. There's at least 3 different generations in that.
In your sales?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Do you think that makes it harder to guide the group towards where you're trying to go with different generations?
No, because I think we have more to learn. I just spoke on the generations just this week, so it's a little fresh in my mind. So
where?
Yeah, for Louisville tourism. So,
what were you doing there?
They hired me to
speak.
Yes.
Because another thing you do is you can go into a company and speak to the group.
Yeah. Or in this case, their members.
Okay.
So a lot of times an organization, a membership organization, whether a chamber, a healthcare organization, several different types, will hire me to come in and just speak to the members about the topic. So, they're essentially providing training. So interesting. So, did that for Louisville tourism.
Yeah.
It was recorded and streamed, and then it's out there for their members to watch later. I just got an email last night from somebody in Japan who had watched it.
Japan?
Yeah. because tourism and it kind of goes out through their tentacles. Someone shared it with someone and so
I got nervous.
Yeah.
That seems nerve-wracking.
It was like 50 people, but they said they'll have over 1,000 people watch it.
That's awesome.
In the first couple of weeks.
So how do people come to you and ask for you to come speak to their group?
Yeah. Usually it's somebody sees me speak at a conference or whatever, and they go, hey, that was really good. Will you come do that for my group?
Yeah. And they provide the topic.
Yeah. Or in the generation, it's funny, the generations thing, a client who has a big conference every year, they asked me about 4 years ago, it was probably the first conference after COVID, to come speak on a topic. Like, well, I know stuff about it, and it's kind of a leadership topic. So I did some research, I put together, and it knocked their socks off. It literally, before the conference had 300 or 400 people in it. I was supposed to be in this little breakout room that holds 40 people. Next thing I knew, they moved it to the ballroom. They have,
that's so fancy.
They had like 150 people in there.
Yeah, I imagine that's
almost half the conference came to this one breakout session. And, and I got 2 other clients out of that who said, hey, come give that same presentation.
I think it's interesting to hear about different generations and how to work best with them and their needs and how they look at things. Because your assumption is, obviously, because I'm a millennial, everyone hates me. They don't understand me. And they're always going to say that I'm green in an industry. They don't see me as seasoned.
Yeah.
But learning, number one, no one's thinking about you, period. That's not all about you, but how the other generations see business is eye-opening.
Well, and the work ethic is one of the biggest differences.
Really?
Yeah. Boomers are workaholics.
Yeah.
Yep. And me, I'm on the border of boomer Gen X, but I am more Gen X. I identify as a Gen X.
Okay.
So I'm right.
The forgotten.
Yeah. But boomers had, as well as their predecessors, traditionalists, work.
Yeah.
No end to their work day.
Sure. Keep going.
Then Gen X came along and said, we need a little this thing called balance. Now, what and I'm going to say we is because I was in this camp. Balance meant I need to have the freedom to be able to do something with my family, take a vacation, do whatever. Now, when you need me, I'll be there.
Sure. Okay.
So
different.
So I was leading a project early in my career. It was a great career advancing kind of opportunity because the person who's leading the project quit early on.
Mm-hmm.
I was like the, kind of junior person on the project.
This was your time.
And I was able to step up into a leadership role and lead a $2 million project. But I had a team of 5 people. So it wasn't huge, but I was
you were doing
it. 25 years old or something.
Yeah.
And everybody on my team was older than me.
Yeah.
I was leading this project. Well, we got into crunch time. We started realizing we're behind, and we had to go live on January 2nd.
Yeah.
And we ended up working, all of us, all 4 or 5 of us, worked every day in November and December, except for Thanksgiving Day, Christmas Day. Every day. And this was not in the days where you could get your laptop out and work from home. This was drive downtown, park in the garage, go into the office building and work.
Yeah.
And we all worked every day for over 2 months, except for the Thanksgiving Day, Christmas Day. 2 days. We took those 2 days off.
Yeah. Did you
imagine?
It happen? No, I can't. No, not at all. I would have to take a year off after that.
But we did it and we succeeded and we went live on January 2nd. And
it's just the way it was. You just did it.
It was a huge advancement for my career.
Yeah.
But the flip side is also, we introduced things like flex time, which meant, hey, if I come in early, I can leave early.
Yeah.
That was a huge thing.
Was it?
Oh, boomers.
Okay.
Boomers
It
just
wasn't
thought
like
we were
a,
being completely late. Oh, you come in early, you should leave late, Kind of just
that's
the opposite
exhausting.
mindset. And then, we got this idea of like, why in the world, when I'm a programmer and I'm sitting here in an office building with other programmers, I never see the public. I never see a client. I never see anybody outside the 3 or 4 people I work with.
Yeah.
Why do I have to wear a suit with a tie? Like,
Yeah.
you got sent home
Yeah.
if you didn't have a tie. And so then I learned the trick of you keep just like an old generic,
Right.
like navy tie in your desk drawer in case you forget, because it'll kind of go with anything.
Yes.
You learn that trick. But we said, that's kind of silly. And so we started really pushing for business casual, and we have casual Fridays. And
Whoa.
the initial casual Fridays you had to like pay.
I used to do them.
I don't do that as much.
At schools.
Oh, at schools.
Every time.
Yeah. Well, that was a big thing in like the 90s, like
You have to pay your employer to be casual.
well, it would be like a fund.
A donation.
Yeah, it'd be a fundraiser for something, so, it's going to, whatever.
Yeah.
But you pay $1 so you could, first just like not wear a suit. And then it went to jeans and
Okay.
other
Got
things.
a little more casual.
It got a little more casual. Then eventually it's like, hey, if it's good on Fridays, why can't it be good on
Did you have to pay every other day?
There was for a while you did.
What?
Yeah.
For everyday cat? That's crazy.
Yeah. I think it would be like business casual.
Okay.
But if you wanted to do jeans on Friday, you still had to pay $1 for that.
I see.
That's all that is.
So this was all pre-inspire you.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I mean,
I'm talking about. So I spent 25 years in
you were young.
corporate life.
Okay. So you were a corporate guy.
I was.
Look at you right now. Look at your socks. You have corporate cool guy socks on.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I thought about one pair of socks because I thought.
Did you? You knew I was going to say something about your socks.
They're
they're not bad. They're pretty swanky.
Yeah.
They've got a little design on it. I think you could have done better. I think
I could have done
socks in there.
I have some bright color ones.
I'm shocked that you wouldn't think that's what I would like.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
kind of chill,
Okay.
This morning.
You're right. It is. Let's be calm.
Yeah.
Is that coffee?
That's coffee. Yes.
But you haven't drank it yet?
It's my second cup.
Really? Do you drink 2 coffees a day? Is that normal?
I drink much less coffee ever in my life, but yeah, I drink probably about 2 or 3 a day.
A day? 3 a day?
Well,
you stay up all night?
No.
Do you drink it black?
I sometimes put some sweetener or black, no cream.
That's so
But
cool. That's so cool.
But
Just black.
in my corporate days, I did coffee until 5 o'clock.
You drank coffee until 5.
It was the only way to keep me going through the day.
And then you would sleep well at night.
No, I wouldn't.
I mean, no, of course not. It was a silly question.
But I was miserable in my life. And
Yeah.
even though, I thought I was chasing a dream.
Yeah.
And really, I was just chasing the dream that
You're just chasing.
you're told that you're supposed to chase.
Yeah.
And, that. So I was
You were drinking coffee all day long.
just keep me moving, keep me going.
Because that was the motivation you had for it.
It was just, because it sucked the ever living life out of me.
Yeah.
The work did,
Yeah.
not the people, but the work, and the culture and just the backbiting.
Expectations and
I don't care about expectations. I'll deliver all day long, but
okay.
but
Sure.
that whole politics. I hated the politics.
Yeah.
Really hated it. And
So those are all the things you hated. Do you miss any part of it?
the people.
Really?
I mean,
That's why you did what you did.
yeah, but I mean, it was
Part.
when you're part of a team and it's like, hey, let's go play golf Friday afternoon. For me now, if I want to play golf Friday afternoon, I have to start going through my Rolodex.
Rolodex that you went like this. Your electronic Rolodex. I think we call it a phone.
I have to go through my golf contacts. Hey, email avail, and it's like, okay, I found one guy that play. Okay, and two spot.
It's harder to get people together.
Yeah, but if it's like, and we had a golf league, that was fun.
Play the sense of camaraderie. Yeah, we're doing this together.
I miss that part, but that's like the only thing.
That's it. Okay, so what made you leave? Was it like a clean, I'm done, and starting?
Well, I mean, you did read that book, right? I mean,
everybody else hasn't read your book. John, so I'm asking, like, I don't know. Okay. The value.
So, 25 years, had a lot of success, I was in senior management at a Fortune 100 company, and I was miserable. But 2009, I know, like, you were like,
how old do you think I was in 2009?
No, I know how old you are because you're the same age as my kids. It's easy to remember.
High school.
But anyway, 2009, we had this huge layoff. 35% of our staff is gone, but yet we were still expected to go everything. But but my team was completely eliminated, but they wanted to find a role for me. So because I've been there 10 years and had good success and everything. So they found a role for me. They put me in charge of the worst performing team in the department.
That's sweet.
They
liked you.
The guy that was running that department was like, I was put in charge of that department. They were achieving their service level at 65%.
They're like, we need you to turn this around.
Which was terrible, which basically meant every day, 7 days a week, I got a phone call. On average, every day, I got a phone call at like 4 a.m. that said, we're not going to hit our SLAs today. Because we had like three SLAs, three things we had to hit every day.
That's stressful.
365 days a year.
Okay.
7 days a week.
Okay.
Yeah, no days off. Well, Christmas Day was off. Thanksgiving Day.
That's fine.
So maybe 363 days a year.
Okay.
We had to do this. And on average, every day, I got a phone call. And
we're not going to do well today.
Yeah. And I had to send an email to the CIO of the company and the leaders of whatever division was impacted.
Yeah.
To say, we suck. And we're
not.
And
that's the worst.
And so this team had been doing that for years and nobody wanted any part of it. And so I took over that team and I said, this is not a fun way to live.
No,
and so
stressful. Blood pressure.
I originally tried to sell the same solution that predecessor had sold, which is like to retool everything.
Yeah.
Spend a couple $100,000 and rebuild everything. And I was told no. So
it's a no for me, dog.
So I went to my team and said, do y'all like to live in this way? Because I don't. And they're like, no, we don't. I'm like, well, how can we fix it? And imagine if you just ask the people that do the work, they have ideas. And so we started brainstorming some ideas and we said, okay, if we did this, this, and this, and this, we could probably fix all those problems. Well, to get that, we're going to have to get the clients to agree to some trade-offs.
Yeah.
I said, okay. Yeah. Here, I didn't know anything about selling, but I was actually always selling.
Here we are.
I go out to the clients and I'm like, hey, y'all don't like this either, right? Like, well, if I could get you 99% of what you wanted every day versus 100% of what you want 2/3 of the time.
Sometimes.
Would you be okay with that?
Yeah.
And they went, man, 99. I think I started at like 90. Yeah. And like, if 90 is okay, how about 95? If 95 is okay, how about 98? So eventually we decided like 99% was okay. That they could live with 99% accuracy.
They'll be okay.
They'd be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so we ended up with making these changes, and SLAs went from 65% to 98% in about 8 weeks. Didn't cost the company a dime.
Okay.
Right?
I did like that.
You did.
Okay. No.
So I'm in a one-on-one with my leader of the IT part.
Yeah.
Vice President of IT. And he said, John, you're not competitive enough. I said, really? I was like, 'cause I think my golf buddies would disagree with that.
Yeah.
I think,
Personally.
my wife would say something different.
Yeah.
He's like, no, because you need to come in here every day proving you're better than all your peers, that you're the best of your level. So if we were going to promote somebody to the next level, you would be the guy that no one, I thought I was supposed to come in here every day and work with the team and deliver the results that we wanted.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and I never forget. He just said, you are so naive.
Did you cry? I might cry.
I was stunned.
Oh, okay.
I was stunned. And on the way home, I told Debbie, I said, I don't think I'm going to be there much longer. She goes, you think you're going to lose your job? I said, I don't know if I'm going to lose my job or I'm just going to have to quit because I just did something amazing that no one had been able to do for years.
Right. And it wasn't good enough.
And the reason he didn't like it is we didn't force the company to pay for it. We did it.
You did like a workaround with the clients.
We came up with our own solution that worked and no one had to pay for it. And so 2 months later, I walk in for my performance review and there was HR sitting there.
Yes. You're like, hey, Carol.
We were talking about sleeping. Right? I went home and slept like a baby because like really.
Oh, relief. Yeah.
I mean, yes, I don't know where I'm going to work next.
But I'm ready.
And it's in the middle of a recession.
And it's fine.
But I had a nice severance package.
Yeah.
Had several months to figure things out. And I decided.
This is the start to the rest of your, whatever you're going to do.
Yeah. And
it freed you a little bit.
Yeah, it was free. And until I ended up going into a small business after that.
Yeah.
Never looking back, never wanted to go back to corporate.
If people, obviously not me, because I've read every single thing that you ever send me. But to learn more about that and then some, because there are so much more than John Jennings' story in it that is not super long. It's really not super long.
It's so you can read it in a day if you're a reader,
A lot of leadership, a lot of, I'm gonna say, eye-opening. There were a lot of one-liners. I'm not usually someone that highlights books because to me that feels like, who are you trying to impress? It's your own book. But there were a few one-liners that I liked in there. So what is the name of your book? Where can people find it?
So the name of the book is Your Baby is Ugly.
What does that even mean?
And it's because most business owners think of their business as their baby.
Yeah.
And they'll even refer to it as their baby sometimes. I'm amazed at how many times I hear somebody refer to their business as their baby now.
Like the law of attraction. Yeah. Now you hear it more. Yeah, actually, I'm very aware of not saying that around you.
Yeah.
If I'm ever thinking it, I'm like, my business, and then it stops me.
Yeah.
But maybe that's a good thing.
But anyway, it's about, I think the subtitle is, 10 truths business owners need to hear and how to avoid them. And it kind of came from one particular situation where a portion of the business, a line of a business was failing, but it was the baby of the owner of the company, this president of the company, really his baby, and nobody wanted to tell him. And everybody danced around the topic.
Yeah.
So this was one of my early coaching clients, and everybody was just dancing around the topic. No one would address it. It's fun. I tell the story in the first chapter of the book. I mean, it was like one of those moments where like the Band-Aid got ripped off before I was ready for the Band-Aid to be ripped off. And I really thought I was going to be fired. I really, honestly, he was mad. He just come back from vacation, and the first day back, this other person had just kind of ripped the Band-Aid off. And I thought, and he's like, finally, I was like, can we let's just break from this. Let's put a pin in it. Yeah. Let's come back like tomorrow. Or so we scheduled a meeting for like 8:30 the next morning. I'm like,
not a good idea. Yeah.
It's going to fire me. It's going to be it. And, but it didn't. And actually there's still a client today. And that's been, 6 years.
Okay. So there's just some like little bits of, take a look in the mirror.
Yeah.
Truths, if you will.
I tell stories in it and then I try to apply them. All the names have been changed and all that stuff.
I figure.
There's, the industry changes a little bit.
Yeah.
And not obvious, but I've had people go,
yeah, I know who that is.
I'm Richard, right? I'm like, yeah, you are.
Yeah, I felt like I could guess some of it, but then that person just told me that it was about them. But I won't utter. She was like, "Yeah, that's me." It's on Amazon. Is that really where people will get it?
That's the easiest place to get it.
Okay. If someone wants to buy in bulk for their clients, if maybe they're a coach of a sort and they want to get it for their clients, do you think that'd be a good gift?
Certainly. I mean, I use it as a gift all the time. It's like my business card kind of thing.
Okay.
So, I mean, I give it out more than I give out business cards. But if somebody wanted to do that for a team, they can contact me. I can give them bulk pricing.
How can they contact you?
JohnKJennings.com is how to get to my website. John Curdy Jennings. It's to designate me from the
Our generation likes middle names.
It just designates us. And, there was a John Jennings in music industry.
No, there's no other John Jennings that matter in my life.
Well, thank you. But
maybe Jonathan.
Not Jonathan. John K.
JohnKJennings.com.
Yeah. Or John@JohnKJennings.com.
Yeah.
JohnKJennings@gmail.com.
So to contact you about the books, or speaking from experience, inspire you.
Mm-hmm.
You have some group coaching, and you have some
one-on-one coaching.
Okay, I was going to call it something else, but one-on-one.
What are you going to call it?
I was going to call it stage coaching, where it's just all about me because I'm on the stage by myself. But one-on-one sounds better. Stage coaching, like it's just me because I'm the star.
It's all about you coaching. How about that?
You say it like
if everything is, inspire you, it's all about you.
You, me.
Yeah, you. It's the you.
You don't have to work well with others and be in your group coaching, but that is an option for people maybe wanting to get their feet wet.
Yeah.
I have been in group coaching programs, and it definitely helped see what you can get out of it. But I like to have my business coach to myself. So if someone else is out there, what does that look like? Reaching out wise.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, same way. I mean, just reach out. But yeah, the one-on-one
John Jennings.
Yeah. In any of those ways you got. And of course, I'm also on LinkedIn, Facebook.
I see you on there.
Yeah.
You're active on LinkedIn.
Well, I've got a good team that helps me on that too.
I love hearing that because I love delegating and outsourcing.
I have a great team, virtual assistant marketing team over in Europe, actually.
Okay. Oh, so she's doing well.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, so
we haven't checked in about it.
That's been a good thing because it's taken hours and hours of work off my plate.
Yeah.
To the point that at times it's like yesterday afternoon, it was like 3:00. I'm like,
what am I going to do?
What do I need to work on?
Let me get ready for this interview with Ashley. That's the most important thing.
Yeah. Because this is so scripted.
It is.
It is.
So they would just reach out.
Yeah. And one-on-one coaching is, everyone is different. I mean, I coach leaders in organizations. So executives and directors, it's usually somebody wanting to get to the next level, or they've reached a level where they feel like they've plateaued and they're trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's their boss that's saying, hey, you want to hire a coach, or HR or something like that. But sometimes it's just, I've been hired by a CEO to coach a COO to get ready to take his role. Transition plan. I've coached like directors. I've been hired by like executives to say, hey, coach my directors to help them develop more of an executive presence and mindset. And then the other type of coaching that you're familiar with is more business coaching, which is really focused on the business and your strategy and your team and how you're growing and growing in a smart way, not in a haphazard way. Gosh, this has been a rough week for a few of my clients. One of them has had a rough few weeks. She hired me a few months ago because she knew she was getting ready to hit some turbulent times.
Yeah.
Both with her team and with some other things going on.
Yeah.
We're going to impact her business. And so we've just been kind of planning on the future and what's her vision for the future look like, and what's her values, what's her purpose, why does she exist, all those types of things.
Yeah.
And it sounds a little, the technical term we have for that kind of stuff is woo-woo, it's a little woo-woo.
No stranger to woo-woo.
Yeah. So, and it feels that way a little bit. And then she had this week, and this week was like a triple punch to the gut kind of week.
Sure.
And we met yesterday for our session, and her attitude was amazing. I mean, she was like, okay, this stuff's behind me. Now we can work on a lot of stuff, we've been talking about.
Yeah.
And I was just blown away. I was really expecting, because I knew what had happened this week. I knew it was going to be a rough week. I really felt she was going to come in a just kind of a whatever kind of attitude. And
it wasn't.
It wasn't. And so we had a great session, left, went home. About an hour or so later, phone rang. I looked and it was her. Okay. Well,
here it is.
Did another shoe fall, and I answered it, and she goes, I just wanted to say, this week really sucked, but I realized that all that stuff we've been working on is what helped me get through it.
Yeah.
And I just want you to know.
Yeah.
And I'm ready to move forward now, And that was just,
I had to feel really,
I really did.
I need to say things like that to you more, I think.
But it's just, because I get a little,
look at you, John.
I get a little teared up.
Oh my God.
I am a softie.
Oh, I really need to work on my compliments then.
No, it's not I don't care about compliments. I really don't.
You just care about the people.
But when someone says, hey, that helped me get through just really that thing, and man, thank you.
It really helped me.
Yeah. That's cool. That's a cool feeling.
I love that.
Yeah.
I know that there have been some different kinds of plans that you have, because I actually know some of your clients.
Yeah.
So it looks different.
And they're all very different.
Yeah, everyone's different. They all, and there are different needs and different seasons, and it's kind of customizable to what you need in that moment. The client that needed let's be as proactive as we can, get through this hard thing, and now we're okay. Some people, myself included, didn't have a mission. What is a mission? Anything. Yeah. Mission, vision. I have a vision. I just do the thing.
Yeah.
And then some people I'm actively growing, and I know that, and I need you to be by my side. Yeah. So it can look a lot of different ways, what people need at the time of need. And so we've got John K. Jennings. I don't think I've ever been to your website, but I'm going to go immediately after this.
Yeah.
Okay. And they can just start a conversation there.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You also have a podcast.
I do have a podcast.
And
I think I've had some really incredible guests on it.
Well, I will say I did make your podcast a teensy bit better.
Yes.
But that, I'm just one person. What is the name of your podcast?
Yeah, because it's called Simply Business. Okay. Because one of the things I often say is I'm a simple man with simple ideas.
You got it.
50 some odd, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
We started last January publishing.
Yeah.
So I think I hit the end of the year with 40 episodes. So 40 out of 52 weeks.
Okay. That's about it. Yeah.
And then my goal this year is to do one every week.
Really? What day do they drop?
They drop on Tuesdays.
Okay.
Actually, technically they drop Monday night, but we promote them on Tuesdays.
Apple,
Spotify, YouTube.
Okay.
A few others.
Simply Business, John Jennings.
Yeah. And
cool.
Yeah, just a lot of different things from. I think this last week was a lady's getting ready to sell our business after 15 years. Yeah. She built a business from her kitchen table, and then turned it into a very successful business, now being bought by a huge chemical company.
Mm-hmm. So different kinds
people
of business.
Then it might be, gosh, besides yourself, some other amazing people. Somebody, my same marketing person I was telling you about, they also do my podcast booking, and they'll have somebody, sorry guys, if you're listening, every once in a while they'll have somebody I'm like, I don't know if that's the right person. They're like, one time I'm early, I booked this guy and I'm looking up and trying to find him. Like, he's like a kid. Why are they putting this kid on my podcast?
And
he gets on podcasts, and we weren't screening ahead of time at that point. They booked up, took up.
Okay. Yeah.
And literally he's like, yeah, I just got back from Washington, D.C. where I won a contest. I'm like, really? What kind of contest? Well, it was a high school competition for entrepreneurs. And I'm like, how old are you? I'm 17. But this kid had already, I think he was on his third company. He had already sold one for like $1.5 million.
That's amazing. That's a cool guess.
He was planning to go to Carnegie Mellon.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, well, I'll probably go for a year, just see what I can learn. But I don't think I really need a college education. And I'm like, dude,
you've been doing things already.
He started his first business in elementary school. Like I can't remember. He was like bringing snacks and selling something.
Entrepreneur mind.
Entrepreneur from 7 years old.
That's awesome.
And so he was awesome. And I'm like, I mean, and we've had a couple of correspondents, since then. Just
stay in touch.
I'm like, someday, I mean, it's going to be, when I think about Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Ethan Hilton. Remember that name?
Yeah.
You're going to hear that name sometime. I'm sure of it.
Okay. So they need to go and listen to
got a guy coming on here in a couple of weeks. We shot it like 2 weeks ago. So here in a couple of weeks, we'll have this guy that has a technology that may be completely revolutionary for things like school shootings and stuff like that.
So needed.
It's so needed. He's going public this summer with it.
Cool.
He's like, they got a pilot getting ready to fire up.
Yeah. So you already are.
I've already interviewed him.
Okay. So that's one that they can go on that.
Yeah. And that will be coming out here.
I haven't seen that one yet.
I think it's going to come out around the 1st of May.
Okay.
So
this might be after that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it may be out.
Okay. I was going to say, I haven't listened to that one yet.
Yeah.
That'll be a good one.
It's really fascinating. And he's a guy who's like had retired and got inspired to like come out of retirement.
Yeah. And did that.
And
that's awesome.
He's got like one of the Shark Tank people behind him.
Cool.
Yeah. Not from Shark Tank, but
a little like that.
But one of the original Shark Tank guys is one of his investors.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's doing things. So go to the podcast, listen to all the cool episodes. You've got some cool guys on there.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of cool
Gil
guys.
Holland is like, Gil Holland completely revolutionized Louisville, built new, people like
some
that.
pretty cool guests.
Yeah, I'm trying to mix some things up too. It's not all about stodgy business and the corporate culture.
Sure. A lot of different.
It's a lot of different things, but it's all around though how you built it.
Yeah.
How you overcame some of the challenges.
I love that.
And everyone has a different challenge.
I love that. John K. Jennings. That's where it's at.
That's where it's
at. Okay. JohnKJennings.com. Thank you for coming on.
It's been awesome.
I speak from working with you, my own experience. It really is such a pleasure to have you in my studio, letting me ask the questions.
Yeah, you're a fantastic business owner and bookkeeper and accounting services. And
thank you.
People should reach out to you as well.
It's not about me, John. It's not about me.
But that's like the champions that work. When you invest in somebody, you want to reciprocate.
A give and take.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
If I could do it all over again, there'd be no wish I would, should have been. Spend more time with my family and friends. If I could do it all over